So venture capitalists and private equity, maybe you've heard of some of those. So private equity is what it sounds like. So private equity fund, these guys are in it for the long term. So long-term investments in companies. They find a company that might be struggling, or maybe they're doing pretty good, maybe they're small, but they need an infusion of capital. Long-term investments companies that are not publicly traded. So now we're outside of the realm of what we've been mostly talking about. So these are not on exchanges, they're privately held. So one example is Blackboard that we use. So Blackboard was a privately traded company, and my understanding, if I remember correctly, is they were losing a decent amount of money and not being too profitable. And a private equity firm basically took them private. They bought all the shares outstanding. So you can be a publicly traded firm, and then of course it has to be voluntary by the other side. So if Blackboard was trading for $30 a share, and they don't look like a very good bet for the long haul, and a private equity firm comes and says, I'll buy everybody's share at 32, but you all have to agree to it ahead of time. But I'll give you 32 for this company that's going down anyway. And then they might have a shareholder vote or whatever, and kind of take it private. So venture capital, so kind of two subsets of this. You've got venture capital. What does that mean, venture capital? Yep, go ahead, listen. Okay, yes, that's startups. So the venture capital it's a new venture. So these are funding new companies. So new startup companies. So we have kind of the Shark Tank, although that might not even be total startup, but maybe they've had a little bit of a thing, or they're not quite far along. So those are venture. It's also called an angel investor, kind of, is when they think of them as an angel because, oh, I've got this great idea, but we don't have any money. And so angel investments is another word. And then capital buyout funds. This is more of what we're talking about with capital buyout funds. This is kind of buying the whole thing. So a leveraged buyout. Buying the company, and maybe the owners of the company leave a little bit of skin in the game of a loan. So I want to buy your company from you. You say you're asking $50 million, but you know it's going down. We want to buy it, so we'll buy it for $50 million. But I want a $40 million loan from you. It's like, let's say they owned it in full or something. And so a leveraged buyout would be, or one example of it could be the existing owners basically making the loan back to the people, the new buyers. And so this is done in real estate. I've purchased a lot of properties buying on contract or land contract. Have anybody heard of that as it relates to real estate? Go ahead.
So I don't know. So we bought land back behind the house, and I think one of the terms is we can't have cows.
No, that'd be more of a restricted covenant or something. Restricted that can run with like they sold it to you contingent upon that happening. No, this is just them the owner financing. So, and this is a good way that if you're investing in real estate, you can kind of get in with less money down than what you have, and maybe you're not even you're at 20 something, and you don't quite have credit built up to be able to do it. Well, you find an owner here in Ottawa that doesn't have a loan against their property, and you can say, I'll buy it for $100,000, but will you make me the $90,000 loan? And then you put $10,000 of your own money, and so the previous owner is acting like the bank. You're basically borrowing from them. And so company buyouts can kind of do that too. What's that, Eddie?
It's kind of like a trust type thing, right?
It is a trust thing. It is a contract though, so it's a public record, and so if you don't pay your bills, then they can still sue you. So, but yeah, they're acting like the lender without using the bank. So that's kind of a private solution again that can be done. So I wanted to show you. You guys have heard of Mitt Romney? I think Mitt Romney was just in the news. I thought about today. You guys know who Mitt Romney is? Yeah, he ran for president. He was kind of his company was called Bain Capital. So he was kind of a billionaire, Wall Street type of guy. So Bain Capital. This is Mitt Romney. I guess Mitt Romney just came out yesterday again with another potential policy where if you're a stay-at-home mom, the government will cut you a $3,000 per kid check. Now, Mitt Romney's a Republican in theory, so it's kind of an odd thing coming from the Republican side of the House. But with today's Democratic-controlled Congress and presidency, I don't know if he's trying to make a splash that maybe something like that would work, or if he's trying to play nice to his, if we think public choice. You guys know his religion? He's a Mormon. Big families or small families in the Mormon world? Big families. Could it be that he's proposing, he's in Utah, he was congressman from Utah. Is it possible that a politician would be proposing something that maybe is even a little bit more in their self-interest as opposed to the public interest for the United States? Does that happen in policy? Oh my gosh, crazy. Okay, so anyway, but he's been kind of the, perceived, I guess, as the ruthless corporate billionaire buying up companies and whatever, dividing them up, cutting them, slicing and dicing. All right, so do any of you know who Jeff Hall is? How many of you have done some events in the Hall Center here on campus? So Jeff Hall is a graduate of Ottawa University. And I had to look this up just before class because I couldn't remember Jeff's whole story, but there he is. And I know that my previous economics major got a ride in his private jet down to a job interview or something. I don't know, there's a golf thing or something, but he was in Ottawa and needed to get back down to Dallas because he was working for a big financial company. That I helped him get that job actually through a phone call to another graduate the previous year at his graduation party. So I went to his graduation party. I was like, hey, what are you doing after school? He's like, oh, I'm just on the job market. He wanted to get involved in trading, finance company or something. I'm like, well, let me call Max. So I literally texted Max Brewer while I'm at his graduation party, and Max is kind of knew of him, but they didn't really know each other. And long story short, he ended up getting him a job at I think it's called Black something. It's the third largest mutual fund company in the world, like huge company. And he ended up getting him a job there, or referring him along the way. What's that? Max, the soccer player, yeah, referred the other student there. So anyway, so this is Jeff Hall, and then I heard later that Jeff was here on other business, and he needed to get back down to San Antonio, so he took him in his private jet and took him down there. So here's Jeff's stuff. Jeff focuses on a broad array of industries and investment types. His breadth of experience provides Highlander with the expertise to structure, finance, and manage successful transactions. As president and CEO, Jeff leads day-to-day operations of the firm and management of the investment professionals and marketing strategies of the firm. He also heads the firm's management and investment committee. And so if you look down here, MBA in finance at Emporia State, and we have an MBA in finance, by the way, here at Ottawa now, and he was a bachelor's in accounting. And I think he's old, I don't think he was around, probably with Sherman Snyder, probably before Professor Wagner's time. Little old Ottawa University. And if you look at what they do, Highlander Partners is a Dallas-based private investment firm with over $2 billion in assets under management. The firm is uniquely positioned by its own proprietary capital for investments. It invests on a global basis, including offices in Warsaw, Poland, and Bucharest, Romania. Since its founding in 2004, the firm has completed over 80 majority-controlled transactions in 8 countries throughout North America and Europe for transactions exceeding $3 billion, as well as direct minority investments. Why we are different. So you've got some skin in the game. We only invest our own capital. They don't have, I read somewhere on here, no outside partners. So the inside game that I know a little bit is basically a very wealthy family hired Jeff to help manage, and then he's got to participate in investments as he went. And so now he's very well off as well. So that's a great way to do it. That's kind of the way I started off too. I went to work for a guy that had a net worth of about $30 million, and he let me buy real estate along with him with little tiny baby percentages, and then I earned an income working for him as I did it, and then I invested in other things, and we started partnering in other deals, and before you know it, you can build your way up in that. So this is a little bit different path with private equity, and then he had another job before that. So Jeff Hall, I would love to get him. I might try to poke around. He might be available to talk to us for class. Would you guys like that? You guys like talking to millionaires that are from Ottawa University? I don't think he's a billionaire, but that's multi-million, I'm pretty sure. So, well, and I know some of the gifts that he's given. There's been more gifts besides what came with the Hall Center too. So, anyway, I'll see. I don't know what his availability is. I've never talked to him privately, like I did with Wiley Angel before, but that would be cool if he was able to talk a little bit about what he does. So I'll see if I can line something up. I'm not sure. This kind of was an idea of mine as I was preparing for class. Oh yeah, private equity. Maybe I should pull up Jeff's thing. So that's where it is. All right, questions or comments? All right. It is time to get in groups of 3 to 4. 3 to 4. You guys on Zoom will be on there. So if you pull up, if you go to Blackboard and look at the handouts from chapter 13, I had a list of all the handouts that I put on the Blackboard. So we're doing the chapter 13. We've got 2 exercises. So you guys can go ahead and move around chairs.
Hey, Russ.
Yeah.
So my laptop broke. So I've been on my phone, and so I don't know how I'm supposed to access that problem.
You should be able to do it from your phone. I mean, it's not going to be very easy to read, but on your phone, go to Blackboard. You can access Blackboard on your phone, and then it's just a hyperlink.
All right.
It's a PDF. All it is a PDF. So you can do it. There might be a Word document. Sure.
What is it under on Blackboard?
One of my previous announcements. Go to the announcements page.
Gotcha, thank you.
No, yeah, well, I have extras, so whatever. Okay. I think we'll start with the rich uncle. I don't think it really matters, but I'll put this on the screen, you guys, but if you weren't, were you guys able to find it in the announcements? Okay. All right, so your rich uncle dies. Your rich uncle dies, leaving you an insurance policy worth $100,000. The insurance company offers you an option to receive $8,225 per year for 20 years, but the first payment due today. Which option should you pick? gonna put you guys in your room here.
And then through 20 years. So,
And you guys can pull out your phones for calculators if you want.
well, that's why this one.
What did your partner say? Is it just you and JC? Oh, you guys gotta split up. That's illegal. I want minimum of 3, maximum of 4. So sorry I didn't go police this earlier. What do you guys? Comfort with 5? Alright. Do I have a volunteer to go join these guys, or do I have to randomly pick one of you? Right, you go. No, not you. Just a phrase S. You got to say S and C here. Okay, you guys are here, and you guys are here. Okay, there you go. I will come around eventually, but you guys, the reason I put you in groups, so I want you guys to talk it through on your own. Yeah. Do pull up, yeah. If you want to pull up Excel for this one, I was going to mention that even. Yeah, this. Hey guys. See, actually, I don't have audio on here. Sorry, I just pull up the creep meter. This works. That's kind of cool that I got this thing's in their chat room. Okay, maybe I should let them know. I think that I'll take that as a compliment, but just so you know, I am in your chat room here, so just in case, I wanted to be fair. I like, yes, yeah, I just, the word tricky is kind of tricky, because challenging would be another way to describe it. Oh. Yeah.
So with the present value, once you get
So apparently, you guys can hear me now, Daniel. Okay, it must have closed. I didn't mean to close the room on you, so something happened. So let's go back to maybe it's something with
that's not. It is.
the way the breakout room has a timeout on it or something.
Oh, I just left the room because
Oh, you left. Okay.
I thought that we were done.
No, you guys. I'll pull you out when you're ready. Actually, we'll talk. They're still working. You guys are still working on this one, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess maybe you have talked about it enough for now. Let's go ahead and. Oops, Luke just went back in. All right, come back out, Luke. Well, now you're over here. So, questions on this one? What are you guys thinking here? Maybe I should walk around the room. I'd rather see what you guys are doing. Yeah, you guys go back into your room. Back to your room. Can you go back to your room on your own, Daniel? Oh, it looks like you can. Okay. Oh, wow. I didn't know you were free to come and go. How do I lock you in your room? Okay, so what are you guys thinking here? I saw your hand up first. So yeah, I think you're thinking about it. So you were doing a personality or? How'd you get the rate? Oh, you did it actually.
So it's the rate for this, so you get this 5.2. So if you're thinking higher, if you make higher return.
Yes, then you can come now.
If you make more than $8,000.
Sounds like a good thing to track. Make sure your present value formula is right at the 5. I think that may be off. What about you guys?
Okay.
So you're
I
tracking.
got on the homework, I know that I saw problems.
Okay.
Because we didn't set it up next time. It gives you an assessment.
I'd like to see you set it up with an equation. Olivia was starting to do something.
I thought it was like that.
So I used, we can totally Excel. So yeah, so you want to calculate the present value of those payments, right? So it would have to be 6% for every given month. This is pretty much. All right, so it sounds like you guys are on the right track. Let me see if I put it at 5%. Okay, what are you guys doing? What are you? I don't know if you can screen share or if you can tell me verbally who wants to take the lead here. What did you do? What did you come up with? Okay, what does it say?
So
Oh, okay, hold on.
yeah, 100,000.
Okay, you should be able to now, Caitlin.
And then type it more.
Work or not? I wonder if it's because I just changed my thing. Maybe it's because we're in the breakout room. All right, so just explain to me. Let's put your answer verbally out.
Present value program. And,
Okay. All right. Well, I expected more out of you guys, but that's all right. This is why we call it learning, right? Not knowing. Okay. So everybody get their paper out. Let's do this together on writing out the formula. I don't think I saw any of you totally write it out here. So what does this equation look like? What is the present value of $8,225 over the time here? Equals. First part of the equation is what?
Oh, so that you kind of get the.
Present value, you got 82225 for 20 years with the first payment due today. Which option should you pick? So what does this equation look like? A lot of you busted out Excel, but I want you to do more than Excel. If you want to be Jeff Hull someday, you should know this formula by heart. The one that I keep harping on you time after time. The present value formula.
Yeah, present value is future value over 1 plus I.
Okay, yep, you and Jacob were actually saying it at about the same time. So what number goes here? What's the first argument? 8,225 divided by 1 plus I to the n power? No. 20 power? No, actually, not in this problem. To n. What is it? 2. 2? No. I mean, that's one of the arguments. 19 is one of the arguments.
Plus 1 and then plus whatever I, 2.
0 to 19. Luke's got it. So, why is this to the 0 power in the first argument? Because you get it today. Plus 8225 over 1 plus I raised to the 1 power plus 8225 over 1 plus I raised to the 2 power plus dot, dot, dot. The last argument is 19. That's what your little Excel spreadsheet's doing. Of course, if you put 20, you got the wrong answer. Because we accelerated, the first payment was actually today, so you got it all in hand. So then it's the 19 additional payments that are being discounted down. Okay, so if we flip over to Excel, not sure how you guys did it. I saw some of you were using little apps and stuff. Here's the Russ Mccullough method here. So all I did is I put all 8225 payments in a stream all the way down. And now you can calculate the present value, which this is kind of an Excel bugaboo, but I don't think you can do PV. You have to do the net present value. Let me try present value. I can remember it. Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay. They got it both ways now. So the rate, what interest rate would I need to use for this problem? 10%?
Oh, I figured out.
You figured out the actual. What do you mean you figured out the actual?
Well, like, so you can figure out the rate.
Okay, what function do I use on Excel to do that? Rate?
Yeah.
Equals rate?
Yeah.
Do it. Okay.
It's 5
I'll just roll with you. I would have done. I'm going to do it a little differently, but let's just do it. Get rid of this. Equals RATE.
Yeah.
Okay, number of periods,
19.
19. Payment, 8225. And present value,
-100.
negative 100 grand.
Yes, that was it. Negative 8.
100 grand, negative. So you want to put in the 100 grand? Negative? Negative. I'm just following what you guys want me to do here. So type, I think that's it for arguments.
Then you can expand that out. It's 4.9.
So just this little moving the decimal place, these are little shortcuts up here. So 4.93%. Did anybody use the internal rate of return? Equals IRR of these arguments. It's actually, this one's a little bit more sophisticated, but I didn't do the 100,000. Hold on, let me do it this way. If you have the 100,000 in here, so that's another way to do it. Now the thing is, this is going to not, it's going to think that the 8225 is coming after the first time period. So one way to trick the system would be to plus 8225. I'm just doing this off the cuff here. So let's see if this works. Equals. So that's what's really going on, right? So it's 91,775. We'll see if my math works out or not. So equals IRR, internal rate of return of this. And now I don't want to go down to 20, just the 19 arguments here. %. Now I heard somebody had 6% too. And then another way to do it is to say,
So why are they 2% off?
I think it's because of the way this was done. So let's see what I'm going to do the negative 100. So negative 100 in time period 1, and then you got to add back the other equals IRR of this. Now what did I start at? 1 down to 20. That would be 19 arguments of that, right? Now the problem is we're going to have 8225 plus that. Oh, that didn't. Oh, because the 8225 is in there, it's picking up the wrong thing. You have to add that 8225 because normally for the internal rate of return calculation, it just takes all the numbers. It's just going to assume that they're coming in annually. So you got the 100,000, and then the next year you have the 8225 as your first payment. So that's the way the internal rate of return does it. So what we're doing from here that we've covered before, the internal rate of return is solving for I of the problem you guys just did. So the net present value equals the present value of the stream minus the initial investment. So the present value of the stream is what we have here with the 19 payments plus the one today. And the initial investment is there. When you do this one, though, what's the interest rate that you need to plug in? Market interest rate, or what's your opportunity cost, right? So this answer is going to depend on what your opportunity cost is. So that's kind of the key point here. This is depends on opportunity cost. The internal rate of return, so, or we can solve for I. If we take this problem, 100,000 equals, 100,000 equals the 8225 over the, I'm just going to write the first argument here to the 0 power. Basically, this sucker that we have up here, same thing. That solves for I equals the internal rate of return. So I think the way you guys did it with the rate problem here. Oops, let me just blow it out now that I got on track. Oops. So solving this equation for I is the internal rate of return, and that's what some of you did, right? So which number was that? That was on the rate one, I think is probably right.
I wonder why there's a fluctuation for the IRR.
Well, so the 8225, the IRR is not taking the 0 into account. That starts the equation off here.
Oh, okay.
That's the difference. This problem throws in that extra 8225.
So the rate
And so your investment is needs to kind of take that first one into account on comparing getting $100,000 today. So we do have to think of the problem is either $100,000 today or 8225 today, that's why I was backing that off to the 91 plus the rest of these arguments. So really, you're only getting the, you've got the 8225 plus the rest of them moving forward is the present value of the 8,225. You could also just take the, so what was the, some of you did 10% or something on the 8225? So this was the rate, you guys had 4.93%, right? Was the rate off the 19? And yeah, I don't think that's right. So I think it's actually the 6%. I'll play around with this on the equation here. I can chunk it into its pieces, I think. Maybe not use it enough.
If you go to the formula section up top, it gives you all the different financial techniques.
Yeah, but what I want to do is just find, yeah, I think that's right. I think, because this is the one, the thing that's throwing me a little bit is you got the 1. So the first time period is actually the 0 time period, but that's fine. Yeah, that has to be netted out of that part of it. And then that was, I had this one, right? But it was with adding the 8225 to it. Yeah, 5.6. That's the right answer. The book has around 6%. They don't even give it exactly, but so netting that out, you need to take that first payment into account that you have that in hand. So that raises your rate of return, right? Because you have more money sooner, and then you got the rest of them. So 5.6% is the internal rate of return. And I heard some of you saying what you should do then. If you solve for the internal rate of return, what's the answer to this problem? That's not the answer to this problem. Remember, the question reads, your rich uncle dies, which option should you use? And the correct college answer that I heard Isaac say, so first was what? What rating? depending on what the opportunity cost is. So now use the 5.6 to tell me the answer to the problem. Good. Yep, that's it. So this interest rate ended up being 5.6%. And so the college answer here is, if your opportunity cost is greater than 5.6%, then do what? Take the money or leave the money? Take the 100 or take the payment deal?
Take the 100.
Take the 100. Then do
Take the payment.
the 100 today. If opportunity cost is less than 5.6%, then do the payment stream. Okay. Flip it over. And first of all, is everybody cool on that? This is kind of a real fundamental one. It was a little bit tricky to use Kalen's words with that first payment being upfront. So you had to kind of, it wasn't the normal thing where it was coming the next time period. But conceptually, what I want you to know for this class is kind of these going back and forth between the present value concept and the thing. So if with 5.6 being our anchoring spot, Liz, did you actually do 10% by the way with the present value, or did you? You did. What did you come up with an answer?
I did.
Oh, okay. If you did that, is it going to be greater than 100 or less than 100? Greater?
No,
Let's go ahead. I think maybe we need to do this then. What is it?
It's 75,000.
75,000 at 10% there. Okay. So what Brady calculated was that at 10%, the present value of that number is 75,000. So should we take the 100 or should we take the 75? We want the 100. We want the money today, right? And it goes with this answer. 10% is higher than 5.6, so that works with this answer. And then, of course, if you did a present value at 3% or 2%, the number is going to be greater than 100,000. So the present value formula and the internal rate of return are kissing cousins with rate. Okay. You guys good on Zoom? Any questions? Okay. That's a thumbs up. All right, move to the next problem.
Hey, Russ.
Yeah.
On the homework, whatever, it uses the actual rate equation.
That's fine. Yeah. I mean, either way with this problem, you're going to get close. I can't remember what it's greater than 6. Yeah, it said about 6% even on the answer key. So I don't know. Did you have to actually calculate it with the homework problem?
Yeah, you have to find the actual rate.
The rate.
For what?
Yeah.
Okay, you thought that problem was fun. This one's even more fun.
Yeah. I'll just say this looks like a problem.
So what is the probability Kia will experience a loss of $5,000 or greater if an insurance company offers a loss policy with $1,500 deductible? What is the, and I kind of reworded this. Is this on your guys' sheet, this little edit that I did?
No.
Okay, add this to your sheet. What is the premium Kia will pay? So all it is the author's not wrong with putting the word most, but it was I just kind of was cutting the chase and saying the most is equal to the premium. So you're basically calculating the premium. Oh, yeah. Guys come up with expected loss. 550 is good. Yeah. 550 is good. That's a good start. Yeah, 550 is good. Guys get 550 or maybe you guys should merge. Short. Join these guys. What? So there's a little bit more here. Why would you come on with that? It's still the expected loss. Oh, you mean for the insurance company or the deductible? So what did you take off of? Did you just net it out? At the beginning. Well, what is it without insurance? Not just your insurance. It doesn't take the deductible. That's why it's like. So then you're comparing the expected loss versus. Yeah. Right. So if the probability Q expects a loss of 5,000 or greater, that's the 5. Right. And so then, and now we do the loss policy with the deductible. Now you're looking at all premiums. Yeah, you can think of an expected outlay. What is the expected outlay? That's taking the deductible. Yes, figure it out. I'll give you guys my notes here, the key ones kind of got them, and the final minutes. Okay, so here's all my chicken scratches from my previous times we worked on this one, because this one kind of a little bit interesting here. So there's the, I think, JC, you were talking about the, what is the most Keel will pay, taking it into the deductible. So this one, they said 475, but I think the class and I kind of worked through and said that the fair price insurance, once you take that into account, is the 387. And the 387 came from right here. Expected loss to the insurance company. Is this kind of what you were working on, JC, with the deductible taken into account? So the deductible's taken off. That's the 28.5. The 30 minus 28.5.
I was like,
Yeah. And once you add that up, then you've got your expected loss. The 387. So then here's my summary of that. So with full insurance, you got the 550. That's without any deductible. With the deductible, you've got the premium that you're for sure going to get, plus the chance of the loss. So that gets you back to that 550 with the total expected loss. So client self-insures the $162. That's with because of the co-insurance, right? The $1,500 deductible. Company insures anything above that, so the total outlay with the co-insurance is that. So it does come back to there. You guys are free to take a picture of that if you want. Looks like we're out of time. Go Chiefs!